of self-confidence, sexual self-control. He wasn't laying there going, I gotta control myself, I can't do it with this girl because I've got all these rules and regulations and things in my mind about it. No, it was like, because I don't need to. Because I don't need this external sense of validation about who I am as a person and a man. I don't have to hit this because it's there. I can choose not to and know that I could. And that's a beautiful place to be. That's the level of confidence I want you all to have. That's the level of confidence that's required to pull off this stuff that I've been talking to you about tonight. It's like, oh, it's up here somewhere. Well, it all starts with that. The steps that you need to take to get to the place where you're like, I can take it or leave it. I'm fine. I don't need this to prove anything.
I'd love to be there right now after like this tiger that wants to.
I'll tell you what, it's really, it seems like a very difficult thing. It's very easy to get a girl. Are you going to do it 100% of the time? No, but most of the time you can. It's not that hard. But it's a matter of how you look at it. It's perception. And I was talking about one of my recent students. He just graduated my full-on course, and he's got Asperger's. He's slightly autistic, I guess. I don't know too much about it. But his problem when he came to me is that I feel emotions, but not as much as other humans, and I don't really have an ability to show it. But you ask him, okay, what day did you realize, at what point in your life did you realize that you're not where you want to be? He'd be like, April 14th, 2007, it's about 3:24 p.m. I'm like, fuck, if you can do that. Then, so I said, let's break everything down technically. And the difference between him and my other students that I work with is that he separated the emotion from all this and just implemented everything like a computer program.
Textbooks.
Yeah, just bam. I would tell him something, I would teach him 2 hours. You'll get a lot of information in 2 hours. But most of us, including myself when I was learning this, couldn't just walk out of there and that's me now. As soon as I hear it once, I walk out of there. So he picked up so fast. I mean, within 6 weeks, he had his choice of 5 to 10 really, really beautiful women. And now he's confused as far as, I don't know which one I like enough to spend time with. So he broke it down so fast. So I'm like thinking, if the rest of us can even do 50% of that, and his perception was, okay, you teach it, I should be able to take it in and go out in the world and implement it. It's that simple. But most of us, it's a internal thing. We don't believe we can do it. So once you see, maybe you do need to prove to yourself that you can do it. But you're going to come to a point where you're not going to need to prove it to yourself anymore. It's just you're doing it for your own reasons.
Yeah.
You can go out and get laid. Your expectations are now higher. Okay, so I can get laid. What else does this woman have to offer me? Why should I spend time with it?
And I also heard in that you're a young man with a vital sex drive.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys think they need to dampen that down, repress that to be able to have sexual self-control. And what I'm suggesting is you amp it up and you work with it and you use it as your greatest asset instead of it torturing you, stumbling you, getting in your way. It can cause you problems, or you can tune into it and work with it and live it, and let the beast and this intellectual guy, all the breaking down the techniques, and that cave guy can live simultaneously. In fact, they have to become, there's no naturals necessarily, but to become natural with this, to have it be just who you are now and how you do life, requires integration of your lusty beast-like stuff and making no apologies for it. Not only that, finding ways to work with it every minute of your life.
Yeah.
Now it's not this building up, I've got to get this thing done and I've got to release this. You're releasing it though. It's just in positive outlets rather than siphoning the energy off so it's not useful to you.
Okay.
But don't ever suppress that or think that it's a bad thing. I've got clients whose wives are making them go to sex addict classes, like Alcoholics Anonymous kind of things. And I'm like, you're not a sex addict. Well, she says I have to do this to save her marriage because you are a normal, lusty man. You have a normal sex drive. I mean, there's tests for that. There's very few people that are truly sex addicts or have an out of control, inappropriate sex drive. You're a healthy young man. And you can take that, instead of it derailing you all the time, it can become your best friend and your greatest asset.
I think we're all kind of sex addicts. So, I don't know what the definition is, but we all like it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's that release that
Yeah.
we're all chasing. We're addicted to that. So you want this release or you want this release? And once you get a little sense of that bigger thing, right? It's kind of, it's there, you've touched on it and you go, oh, how do I get that? And it becomes something that feels unattainable if you don't seek out knowledge, information, support. It will just go by the wayside if you don't give it some attention.
And there's pros and cons. When you know that you can have sex whenever you want, and then there's other things, there's other factors that come into play. You know, like when I was having a competition with Khaled, right? We had a bet. Let's see who can, or like a friendly bet to motivate each other. Let's see who can have sex with the most women this year. And both of our numbers were, you know, we weren't teaching yet. Both of our numbers were kind of not where we want them to be. So like by mid-February, I had 12, and my goal was 30 for the year. And it came to a point where I was like, is it really worth it? Because now I can't get the bitch out of bed in the morning. She doesn't look the same. You know what I mean? Like the makeup is worn off, and then, you know, I got shit to do. I didn't get any sleep. Now I got to work. And it just, now you got to see when is it worth it and when is it not. Because most guys are like, oh, I'll take sex. Most guys, I saw this on Seinfeld the other day. He's like, Elaine's like, if a guy tells you that he can't have you sleep over, he has to wake up early, what does that mean? That means he's not attracted to you, because most men will trade sleep for sex, right? So, but if you're at the point where you can get it whenever you want, you might not necessarily want it with just random women just because they're hot, unless you're really inspired or you have a connection, because you know you can get it, like a higher quality version of it somewhere else.
Or you've got other outlets. You're so in your purpose that you jump up out of bed every morning excited to paint the painting or ride your mountain bike down the hill with your camera hooked on your helmet, or you know, get this show promoted that you're working on. You have a creative outlet that's powerful and meaningful above and beyond. That helps you have sexual self-control. Now you know, I've got this, I can get it whenever I want, and I've got this purpose that I'm really involved in that's this amazing outlet for my sexual energy. Does she enhance that? Does she help? Is she a helpmate to me or not? And if not, it's just a bother. It's just a drain. It gets to that point in long-term relationships if you're not progressing along in development.
It's all, for me, it was all mindset. Like, if I believe that I can do something, then I'm going to do it. Or I have a very high percentage chance that I'll do it, you know? Nothing's ever 100% in your control, but if I really think I got no chance, then there's no chance. And that's when the whole masturbation thing became real, because when I said, I'm not masturbating, and the only way for me to
Earn that.
yeah, to earn that is to actually go out and interact and meet a woman, then it was like, all right, now I believe I can do it because I have no other choice. It's survival at that point.
It's almost how we coach. We go out and you can't have the crutch of the social lubricant of the drink until you've done your assignments and you've gone out and done a few things. You can earn a drink.
We've done other things too, like we'll give different rewards out, you know,
Yeah.
just to motivate them. I mean, that was one of them. For guys who are like really dependent on alcohol, then we won't let them drink until they do something to earn it. But yeah, it's just kind of
And then
makes
they realize they
you
don't
more
need
motivated.
it.
Yeah.
They don't need it anymore. Wow, I just did all that without because somebody challenged me. And men learn in challenge. So continue to challenge yourself, guys. Don't get stagnated in this. Don't suppress your sexual energy or siphon it off with things that are not serving you. Allow the beast, allow the caveman part of you to serve you in every aspect of your life. You're going to have a much more fun, relaxed, sensual, playful, amazing life because you're tuned into your body and your senses, and you're being intuitive, you're being responsive to what's actually happening in the moment. And that's where the pleasure and the power is, in that moment where you're right there in the now.
when you said you were, I don't know if you said you were being celibate or you were asking about.
No, well, I was
Does that
considering
include,
it.
does that include masturbation?
Yeah,
It does, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly, that's really Michelle's department, but I can tell you one thing is like my brother, he did the whole cheat thing, remember I was telling you? He's big into, he's a black belt and everything, so he did this whole thing where he wasn't allowed to masturbate and he's doing these breathing exercises. And I haven't done it, but I played with it a little bit, but really nothing to the level these guys have.
Don't play with it. Alright,
Once
sorry.
a month, once a week. So anyway, he told me that like he would, you know, when he would feel the ball of energy, and you can define it technically.
I
don't know.
teach this in my sessions.
Right, because when I was explaining to her, she's like, that's exactly what I teach. And I said, well, how real is it? He's like, it's as real as somebody like massaging up and down your back, like you can feel it. And he said he got, after like 2 weeks of it, he freaked him out and he couldn't do it anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's what happens. I have people all the time that get to a point with this, and it seems crazy to think that they're having so much pleasure that they're afraid, so they need to stop having so much pleasure. But I hear that all the time, guys that get to a point with this, and they're like, I felt like my hands and my head were gonna pop off. And I got freaked out, and then they shut it down. I'm like, well, what was that? Why, you know, we had this surge, this energy flow going, and then you just shut it down really abruptly. And that's why the fear comes up. This is so freaky, so supernatural, so beyond me, and I feel so out of control. Well, when you're in your base operating system, you're looking over your shoulder, I better plant my seed pretty quick, because the saber-toothed tiger's at the cave door and I'm gonna get attacked any moment, so I better plant my seed. The man that's in a consciousness flow knows he's safe. There's no fight or flight response going on in him. I'm fine, everything's fine. He's telling her through everything he's got that it's fine. And we can spend as much time as we want with this because there's no urgency here. There's no saber-toothed tiger